Glory to Jesus Christ, and welcome to St. Cyril Methodius Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Father Gregory, the pastor. It's good to be with you this Sunday, July 28th. I want to talk to you a little bit about leisure. The Catholic philosopher Josef Pieper says that leisure is the basis of culture. He goes on to say in that book of the same name that we have to cultivate a certain spirit of leisure, of contemplation, and above all, the worship of God. Now that sounds absolutely lovely and marvelous, and yet sometimes I think theologians and philosophers tend to be maybe a little unnecessarily theoretical, or maybe a better way to put it, the sort of the theoretical cast of their disciplines causes them to overlook things that the empiricist, the social scientist, is maybe more sensitive to. In this particular case, I'm thinking about the fact that if you're watching this, you are, in the great sweep of history, among the wealthiest, most privileged of individuals. Until 200 years ago, the average human being lived on $1 or $2 a day. This is important because it reminds us that much of the great theology and liturgical, the great theological and liturgical riches of the Orthodox Church came into existence at a time in which everyone was basically living a subsistence lifestyle. It was a subsistence economy. You woke up hungry, you went to bed hungry. If you weren't working, then you were falling behind. This is important because this tells us that when the fathers, when the saints, when the ordinary Christian devoted time to the reading of Scripture, to theological study and reflection, to the worship of God, it was a real sacrifice. It was time that otherwise could have been spent in putting food on the table. The worship of God, leisure, cost calories. Not just calories in accomplishing the leisure, but in carving out the time for leisure. Today, of course, when we hear that, we immediately go to the moral lesson. Oh, I'm a bad person. My worship isn't sacrificial. That may or may not be the case, but it's not really the point I'm trying to make today. At the very beginning, when God created humanity, he gives us the great blessing of leisure, of rest. Evening came, morning followed the first day. Our day begins in reflection, recreation, contemplation. Because of sin, that's become harder, but it still remains the touchstone of what it is to be human. But now, embracing our humanity requires self-discipline and even sacrifice. So the question for me becomes, what is it that I do that keeps me from cultivating that spirit of leisure, of contemplation, of the worship of God, of what Pieper calls wonder? It's different things for different people. But all of us have things that we cling to that that could be set aside, at least now and then, for that attitude of leisure, of worship, of wonder. We don't have the excuse of our ancestors. We are extraordinarily wealthy. We don't have to scramble to feed our children, to feed ourselves. Even those of us who are relatively poor are still doing better than people were doing 200 years ago, even 100 years ago. We don't have the same resources. We don't have the same temptations, but all of us have the same call to cultivate that leisure that gives birth to wonder, contemplation, and the worship of God. That's what we have to do. This is how we become more fully human. It's how we manifest and grow in our humanity. This is why the liturgy of the Orthodox Church is as long as it is, and sometimes as challenging as it is, because the Church understands that it is difficult to be human and that it requires effort. And so we come together in the celebration of the Divine Liturgy to make that effort personal and corporate. Speaking of which, if you're here in Madison, why not come and join us for liturgy at St. Cyril Methodius Ukrainian Orthodox Church at 1020 Regent Street in downtown Madison? If you're not here in Madison, and maybe you should think about looking at an Orthodox church in your area to get a sense of how it is that you can cultivate that sense of leisure, of wonder, of contemplation, and of the worship of God. Well, I'm got to get ready for liturgy. It's good to spend time with you again this morning, and I hope that you have that opportunity to cultivate leisure today. All right, God bless you, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.